Our initial plan after Vietnam was, well, to settle in Europe for a while, and I think initial plan was to go to the Netherlands, and then it changed several times, and then we ended up spending the whole summertime in Germany. But in the end we still decided to leave Germany. In the last video we shared that we spent a year in Turkey, then some months slow traveling Southeast Asia, which was great. And we ended up staying for a whole year in Da Nang, Vietnam. And if you want to know why we left, check out the previous video. Yeah, and before we even left, we did spend some time thinking where do we want to go, because we didn't want to bounce around too much. Like we said, we wanted a place to stay longer.
And even though we did give it some thought, we still ended up bouncing around a little bit.
So this video is about how we tried to settle in our new home in Europe, and in the process changing our minds several times, and why Germany eventually didn't work for us.
So our first plan was to go to the Netherlands together. I work for a Dutch company. So at the start I had to go to the office once a week.
Yeah, and for that we thought we will eventually have to stay there for quite a while. But we started also looking into how to get a residency for me, because you might think that if you two are married happily, then traveling together, living together somewhere, it's like easy peasy. Well, that's wrong, unfortunately. And for me, just to get a residency so we can live together, we would have to, well, I would have to first know Dutch language at the basic level, which I kind of already do. So that's check, but then I need to apply for exam back in Moscow, in my home city. I have to wait for that exam about 2 months. I have to pay for that exam, non-refundable fee, pass it, wait for the decision 2 more months, then apply for a short-term visa and a residency, and wait for confirmation about, I don't know, 6 to 8 months. So all in all, it was more months and months and months apart, up to like 8 to 12 months. So we would have to live separately all that time.
After all that time, you still don't know for sure if you get the residency or not.
You get like high chances because you're married, but still you can get denied for whatever reason. So there are no guarantees for that, and I think it's around 1,000 euros that you have to pay just to apply for that residency, on top of the payment for the exam. So it's also quite some money. And again, there is no guarantee. At first we were really confident we will do it, we can tough it out. But yeah, as time went by, it felt more unrealistic, so we started looking into different options. And also, like, living in the Netherlands, I mean, it's a highly desirable country for so many expats. So many people want to come and work there. To us, we both like the sunshine, we like the warmer weather, so for us it would be like, you know, toughing it out, the long winters, the no sunshine. And the taxes there are quite high, up to 45%, I think, the personal tax. There were quite some cons for us to staying in the Netherlands.
So we started to look into different ways, and one of those ways is the European Union way. Basically, you go to another European Union country like Belgium or Germany, because they are still close to the Netherlands. Quite some people basically go live close to the border and then they commute to the Netherlands. For us it was a little bit easier because I got stationed at a customer that was in Germany actually at that moment.
So in 2 weeks I can apply for family reunion visa. So that gave us a chance. I mean, thank you Germany for that, just in 2 weeks, I mean 2 weeks versus 10 to 12 months. I mean, of course we went for the 2-week options. It's for 90 days, but it allows me to go into the Schengen zone countries, Germany included, and we applied for the German family reunion visa because you were registered there, and it was really easy. At that moment we together went for a holiday to Antalya, and it was a bit of a working holiday for me because you saw I made a video there to update you guys on the prices in Turkey, which kind of surprised us after 2 years away. We were happy to be in Antalya again because it's such a beautiful city. It's one of our favorites. I think we are kind of nostalgic about living there, always comparing our new place to Antalya, always checking out what's the weather in Antalya now. Oh, it's 20, it's 25 in Antalya. It's sunshine.
We still do it almost daily now.
And I got to finish my guide to Antalya, where I included all the hotels, apartments, neighborhoods, everything essential, boat tours, like travel itinerary And for the Black November, there is an extra 35% discount on it, and you can find the link and the code in the description.
So check it out what it's all about.
And now to actual ups and downs of Germany, and let's start with the positive sides that we really liked about the country. And well, for I think everyone, people from the European Union and people from outside of it, Germany is another attractive country to relocate because there are so many job opportunities. Mostly I know people from Turkey, for example, go to Germany very often to get a good job. There is like residency, well, for a job, of course, for study, for like young professionals. I think there's also an opportunity card where you can secure a visa, like a long-term residency even, and the whole year you're just looking for a job. Do they have already digital nomad visa? I know they have something like a professional visa for freelancers, not everyone, but like a selected types of freelancers, and you basically can live in Germany and work as a freelancer. Germany welcomed a lot of people from outside the country, and that's the main draw. I think that there are so many opportunities to secure a residency versus, for example, Vietnam, where we live. There you have to open a business or marry a professional. And opening a business, like we talked.
Marrying a professional?
Marrying a professional.
Marry a local.
Well, that
marry a local professionally.
Local professional. So in Germany it's easier to relocate for people, and of course for us it would be the easiest because I am already married to a professional.
Local professional. Well, no, almost local.
Yeah, you're not
neighborly local.
Neighborly local. So for us it was an, so to say, easy choice because of the marriage. I mean, I would still have to go through like a long process, and we will talk about that a bit later, but it was possible, there were possibilities.
And also, at least at first, don't want to say too much about it yet, but I have been on a holiday to Germany for a couple of times, and I really liked it. It's a beautiful country, but living there, it was different for me.
That's kind of
But we are in the pros, so I want to stay positive for now, but I will get back at it.
I actually, when we were in Düsseldorf, it's a nice, like mid-sized city, close to the Netherlands as well. And I think what I liked about it is it feels quite safe there, and cleanliness and safety. And I like the architecture, like everywhere you walk there, I kind of felt inspired by it, like something that's not so much in Asia, for example. There's not so much beautiful architecture and sidewalks. Finally the sidewalk, so we could go like on a long walk, and the parks in Düsseldorf are really beautiful and very like pleasant to walk around. We do like walking, being able to walk everywhere in the city, but Düsseldorf also has metro, it has a very efficient tram system. You can go to neighbor cities like Cologne,
Cologne.
Yeah, so you just hop on a train, and like within the hour you can go to other beautiful cities in Germany and to the Netherlands, or even to
Belgium.
Yeah, it was one of the great things about Germany, that the transportation system, the public transport is really, really good.
No, well, overall you do not really need a car in Germany, at least not in the bigger cities like Düsseldorf. But if you do want a car, then Germany has a lot of famous car manufacturers, and they are really affordable, especially in Germany, of course, because the tax is a lot lower, or maybe even no tax. I don't know exactly how those things work.
Yeah,
but
compared to Turkey, I mean, in Turkey the car tax is just crazy. I think it makes the price of the car double.
Yeah, depends on the engine volume in Turkey. Can be up to even, I think, three times of the car worth that the tax is. Yeah.
So if you want to be driving a nice German car, living in Germany is definitely way to go for the best price. Another thing I think personally liked about Düsseldorf is overall infrastructure, that there are so many like cafes, restaurants, cultural events, museums. Like you really feel that you can get like the most out of living in a city like that culturally, especially for singles, to be able to go out to all of those events. Living in Germany, even Düsseldorf is not that big of a city, but I saw there are quite some events. I think even in the summer there was a Japan week.
I think it was Manga week or something.
Basically all the younger people and some of the older people were dressing up in anime costumes, and the streets were like the old city city, it was flooded with young people and middle-aged people.
Yeah, and all kinds of Japanese goodies and even South Korean food and things like that.
Yeah. If you're single, it makes it great to live in such a vibrant, such a lively city. Talking about the climate allows us to transition into the part that we didn't like so much, and even in the summertime we were there, I think June, July mostly, peak of the summer, and I think the really hot days, I mean maybe there were like 7 days total that were really hot.
As in like 30 plus days, yes. And other days were almost always below 20.
Yeah, and it was raining often, on and off, so it felt a bit, it's more like autumn to be honest. Even a couple of times you wore your winter jacket. It was kind of that chilly, and windy, and so you do get sunshine, but not that often. So I can only imagine that starting September, October, it's probably rain almost non-stop. If you're from Germany, let us know. Is it true? Is it not?
But for the Germans watching, don't worry. I'm from the Netherlands. The weather was really similar. I don't think it was any different. And it was actually one of the reasons for me to want to get out of.
Many people who changed their location from, for example, I don't know, London to Greece or something like that, they would agree that the sunshine makes all the difference. Because if you have 6 to 8 months where you don't have sunshine in a year, it does put you in a more depressive state of mind. It doesn't matter how good your life is, how much money you're earning. The lack of sunshine just puts you down. And once you are in a country where they have sunshine almost all year round, like Turkey, like Antalya, city like Antalya, then you really feel the difference. Yeah, even if it gets chillier, the sunshine makes up for it totally.
Even indeed if it's like 10-15 degrees, where in Germany, the Netherlands, it would already feel quite chilly. But if there's sunshine, then it makes all the difference.
Yeah, you just feel the shift in your mindset. At some point, I think you started working full-time from home, and I was also working from home, working on the Antalya guide and the video, and we did plan some weekend getaways as we are close to everything in Europe, but then I was sick on and off, so we had to cancel all our trips and just stay at home, which brings us to the major downside that we experienced. Our nice and cozy apartment. And we've traveled so much, like we've been to so many places. The stereotype is that you will be scammed in Asia or scammed in Turkey or somewhere, but everywhere we've been so lucky, nobody ever scammed us. We would also always get our deposits back, and well, in Vietnam we had different kind of apartments, but overall we were lucky with them, so everything was good. And Germany is known for Ordnung, order, order and security, and that was the only time basically where
it felt like we got scammed. A bit, at least.
I mean, I think technically we weren't, but it felt like, you know, that feeling when everything is kind of on paper good, but you feel that you are being taken advantage of. So that's how we felt with that apartment. Our search, I think, began, we started looking online, like there's Airbnb, of course, but there the prices are just like, forget about it in Germany. So we started looking on websites that do like short-term apartments for rent, but shorter than a year. So short-term is like several months.
Basically furnished, and they rent it out for like 2, 3, 4 months.
Because otherwise we would be committing to a year and it would be not furnished or anything. So yeah, that was not an option for us when we didn't know if we will end up staying in Germany long term. Yeah,
we didn't want to spend 10,000s of euros and not knowing if you want to stay there or not.
So we found a couple of such websites, and the prices were also quite high. I think maybe we're just spoiled by low prices in Vietnam.
I think so. In Vietnam, of course, we paid like 300, 400 euro per month.
For one bedroom.
For one bedroom apartment.
Yeah, we didn't expect that from Europe. We knew we were going to be paying more. But when we saw the actual prices, we were like, this is something. This is something. And they also took 2 deposits. So I think the most affordable place that we could find was already only for 1 bedroom. It was small 1 bedroom, and it was 1,400 euro a month, plus 2 months deposit. And plus there was a 200 euro cleaning fee, which we will circle back to.
Yeah, cleaning fee for the end.
So in the beginning you pay like 3 times the rent, so it makes it 4,000 200 right away, just to start living there. Yeah, the apartment was small, and the biggest downside of it was on the ground floor. And for anyone who lived on the ground floor, especially in Germany, it's really cold there. So even though outside it would be getting warmer, inside we were wearing sweaters and warm socks the whole summer. Plus it was the humidity.
Yeah.
I think it was just as, maybe even more humid than in Vietnam in the end, because again of the ground floor, the humidity, and that creates mold problems. It was dusty, like the dust would, like, no matter how much you clean, it's getting dusty like within a day or two. And yeah, you say, well, just get yourself something higher. Higher floor is already 300 more, and again, every month.
Well, there's not much available either.
Yeah, there was not much availability, and it was already 1.7, so multiplied by 3 because that's the deposit, so it's much more, it's, I mean, 1,000 more or something to just move in. We thought, well, for maybe, we don't know if we're staying, if we're gonna go, let's start with this one, the cheaper one, and then we shall see. Looking back on it, we should have paid more, definitely, because yeah, that apartment problem, I think we were sneezing all the time because of the dust. There was so many problems with that apartment, I think.
Still curious how much of the illnesses you got are from the apartment.
Yeah, if you live there for years and years, definitely no. Just go and live in Vietnam. For that money, you can live there for a year.
Long and prosper.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, of course, not everyone is able to do it.
Well, another thing about Germany, which is for me also different than compared to the Netherlands, is that in Germany you pay radio and television fee, you pay it separately. And for this apartment it was serviced, utilities were included, but for some reason the radio and television fee was separate.
Yeah.
Nowhere we had anything separate before, and in Germany that's separate, even though our contract clearly stated everything is included.
And we didn't watch the TV, of course.
Yeah, no, we don't use it basically at all. We either watch YouTube or Netflix or something like that. But you have to pay it, no matter if you use it or not. Interesting thing about Germany, but okay. Also, we had to pay €200 final cleaning fee for the apartment, and well, that's okay for me, because that means I don't have to clean it myself. At least that's what I expect, because yeah, I have a cleaning fee. So you are going to clean it for me, but then we left and didn't clean. We didn't leave it like really dirty.
Like you would live in Airbnb.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's a bit messy, but there's no like trash lying around. We took out the trash, we made it neat and nice. But of course, after living there for some months, there is, you know, a need for deep cleaning, of course. And we were expecting that those 200 covers that.
Well, that's what we were expecting.
And we were also expecting our deposit back.
But we had to wait for about 30 days for the deposit. And when I finally received the deposit, I received €100 less than I initially gave, without any explanation whatsoever. So I had to email the company why I received less. And then they said, because we left it dirty, they hold another €100.
Well, I think they claimed that it was like extra dirty, which it wasn't. At least not by our like average standard. So nowhere, I mean, in Vietnam again, we lived there for six months in the last apartment. So also there was regular cleaning included in that apartment, included in the rent, but there was no deep cleaning done ever. And when I left it, nobody told me that it's extra dirty or anything. And somehow in Germany we managed to make it extra dirty. Yeah, and I mean, holding the €2,800 for 30 days after we moved out. I mean, if you put that money to work, to deposit, even you are getting money. So Renee told me that imagine if for every tenant, and in that building they have quite some tenants and they are all renting monthly, if they are holding for every tenant when they move out for a month, that money, how much money in the end they are holding, and they are just making money just from that. Technically we were not scammed. The deposit was returned 30 days later after we moved out. The cleaning fee 300, okay, still felt like kind of a scam, kind of getting every penny out of us, every euro.
Every last euro.
Yeah, as much as they could squeeze out of their tenants, they do it. And they do it technically legally, but also I think it is like in so many countries that foreigners are taken advantage of by landlords, unfortunately, because local people are usually quite protected, especially in Europe, from the landlords. I mean, they cannot just force you out, they cannot increase your
rent too much.
Yeah, but foreigners, because we're not going to stay, we're going to go, we're not going to sue them, we're not going to do anything, and we don't speak the language. I mean, what are we going to do? We're just going to accept that more money were taken from us and we're going to go, and yeah, that's how it is.
No, I actually do speak a little bit of German, don't worry. But for €100 we didn't in the end bother. I wanted to, but then Olga said no.
Yeah, I mean, they would never agree to our terms anyway, so there is no point in, I mean, what are we gonna do? Sue them? I mean, don't think so. It would take more money from us than they took. So we were thinking that what's our option? Do we stay in Germany? I mean, there were quite some things that we liked, but yeah, Renee started working fully remote, so we thought, do we not? And I did start looking into my option. How can I stay? How can I secure the residency? Again, it's quite a long process. I mean, the difference between the Netherlands and the Germany. In Germany, we are covered by European law, European Union law, instead of national law. So if in the Netherlands, I would have to do the exam and we would have to wait for a long time living separately. If we are in Germany, we are covered by the European Union law, and that law doesn't require me to learn German, for example. We could already apply when we lived there. I could have applied for family residency. I joined some Telegram groups about it to see what's the people's experience, and yeah, I saw many messages that people applied for it and they are still waiting for their term, for the next appointment, and it's being delayed, and they are living on a temporary card for longer than a year. Someone was living on it for even 2 years before their residency was approved, and that's just because there are so many people coming into Germany. They just don't have enough hands to process it. And if you have just a temporary card in the country, for me it would mean I cannot travel freely. I have to apply every time to go somewhere. I cannot register a business. Basically, I'm living there in this state of...
In the limbo state.
Yeah, in the limbo, and living like that for another year or two is... Yeah... Do we really want to? Yeah, thinking about how the winter is gonna be in Germany and how finding an apartment to live long term for a year or longer will be quite a trouble, and the housing market in Germany, as well as in many other countries, especially UK or even Spain, I think, France, Netherlands, Germany, finding a long-term apartment, it's a landlord's market, so they are choosing you. It's not you who are choosing the apartment, it's they check you out.
In the Netherlands, no one is choosing anyone because there's nothing available. But
well, there are just a lot of people fighting for the same apartment, and I heard in the Netherlands that price that you see online, it's the starting price, and you have to offer more to increase your chance that they will choose you.
If you buy a house, yes.
And the rent.
That one I
heard. I did some online researching also about it, and yeah, you basically have to offer more and more, and then you might be accepted. So I assume in Germany it's a similar situation?
No, it's not, but okay. No.
Well, then what's the actual situation in Germany?
In the bigger cities, it's expensive in Germany, but still usually cheaper than in the Netherlands. But especially if you go around the big cities, then prices are going lower quite fast.
But then you have to commute into the city every time.
Yeah, usually that's quite okay. There's quite good public transport still. For example, even if you remember, we went from Düsseldorf to Cologne by train. It took an hour, but even if you would go in between them, so half an hour, and then somewhere around that train, the price would already be almost half as it would be in Düsseldorf.
But then you're living in suburbs, which for me is not ideal. I do like to go outside, work in a coffee shop, something like this, just be in a more of a livelier city. So for me, I don't think I would want to live in a suburb where I have to travel half an hour or something. But doesn't matter, we didn't end up living it. Yeah, so other things that we considered is that in the end, in a country like Germany, as well as Netherlands, again UK, France, everywhere basically in the Union, it becomes that the cost of living, yes, the salaries are higher than in less developed countries, but the cost of living is also, especially the housing, is so high that after paying all the taxes, all the rent, all the bills, you have like this much to be able to save money or to go out, to just have something beyond basic is just very little. So in the end, you end up not even having a life. You just like living on autopilot. You work and you eat and sleep, work, eat and sleep. So I think that's the problem in many Western countries right now, that people are with costs of living rising so much, they don't have much left to even save up and to buy their own apartment at some point.
No, well, we have been privileged for quite some time, I think, in most of the Western countries, where, for example, in the Netherlands, I'm not entirely sure if around in other countries it was similar, but even as a single person you could buy your own apartment, but by now it's not even possible with two people to buy your own apartment.
Yeah, basically living by yourself is almost impossible now, both in Germany and in the Netherlands.
Yeah,
well, it's possible, but
that changed really quick over a course of, I think, about 5 years. So 5 years ago it would still be possible as a single person to buy your own apartment. Then it evolved in that it was only possible with two people. And by now it's not even possible if you are together to buy your own apartment, unless you both are earning more than the normal wages.
I even remember we met a Dutch couple, also younger couple, maybe in their early 30s or something like that, from the Netherlands, and they were doing like a gap year. They were just traveling for a year, and after they were almost at the end of it, and yeah, they are both adults, like 30s, but they said they would have to go back and live like with the woman's parents for a while before they get back on track, get the jobs and everything. So yeah, it's really hard now to have some sort of a life beyond just working and paying your bills. I think it's especially now hard on Europeans and Americans, Canadians, I think probably Australians as well, is that our culture is more of an individualistic culture. For quite some time we are not living, like for example in Asia people are still more communal. And in Turkey, people rely a lot on their families, on their friends to help each other out. And in Western culture, we kind of we can do everything ourselves, and if we cannot, our government will subsidize us or help us. So we don't expect and don't help each other. The rising cost of living makes that even harder because, again, in Turkey and in Asia, people live together with the family, and that of course cuts their costs quite a lot. And here we live either by ourselves or with roommates or maybe as partners. But still, if you're like in your 30s and you're married, for example, and you're living with your parents, that's like looked down on. That's really like, yeah, are you not independent enough? Don't you earn enough money? Why are you living with your parents? That's really looked down. Where in Turkey and in Asia, it's kind of how it is. And the grandparents help with the grandchildren, and that's how people save up money, and they are able to afford more that way. I think, at least that's my kind of worldview. If you think it's different, leave a comment below.
Yeah, well, to me it's, like I said, we have been privileged for a long time in the Western countries, and we shifted in our morals and values as well, compared to indeed other countries where they are more family orientated. Yeah, now we have to change our ways too.
We have to change back.
Well,
we have to start living with our parents. Aww.
I mean, there are always multiple possibilities, and it's about choices. We decided to not live there.
I think with both of us working from home and being able to work remotely, we were thinking, let's look into other possibilities. Maybe there are countries with milder climate, friendlier tax system, with overall more possibilities for us to have a different sort of lifestyle. And we then, I think, started looking into Eastern European countries as well, especially tax-wise. I think many countries in this region, they do offer quite good options. My visa was expiring 90 days, and we had to basically make a choice, move somewhere where we could settle, and right away I could apply for a residency permit as well. And as a family member of an EU person, I could do it relatively easy. That whole process was a thing on itself, and I think it deserves a separate video to tell you. So here we are already in our newly secured apartment in a new country. We got our papers in order, and here the taxes are, I think, one of the most desirable, friendly, lowest in the whole European Union. So that was, of course, a big factor for us. We did travel beforehand, before make a decision. We did travel, we looked around, looked if we could, in general, like this place and would want to live here, because, yeah, taxes are great, but you cannot live in a country for years and years and years, how we plan to, if you completely dislike it. But we did like it, and we did move here, and we will talk about it in the next video.